Hello, everyone, and welcome to this my latest installation to the Stick Tap Sports Network channel. And today, what I wanted to do was more or less show you how I've created a custom library in Digital Diamond for the Legends and Busts card set from Payoff Pitch. And I'm hoping by the end of the video, what I will have done is shown you how I have taken uh, PDFs and converted them to basically digital images, and for me, a digital card. And so I use those to play digitally. Don't actually print them up. Um, and also show you how to build a custom library in Digital Diamond that is compatible with the uh, Legends and Bus player card set. Also, how to import the custom notes from Payoff Pitch into Digital Diamond. And that's pretty much it. But so I figured, why don't we let's go ahead and get started. I'll show you what I do for creating the cards. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use as an example, because these haven't been done yet, but this is the Negro League set from Payoff Pitch. So what I do is simple. And let me first show you what the end result is here, if you don't mind. So let's take a look at. So what I'm talking about when I say a digital card is this. So basically, it's just a JPEG of the individual card, and so you can see it's we've got on this particular team, we have Charlie Keller, Yogi Berra, Alex Rodriguez, Bill Dickey, Joe DiMaggio, Joe Gordon. I'm sure if you're a baseball fan, you'll know that most of these guys are Yankees or were Yankees for their entire career. So this team is based upon a Yankee squad. It's called the Bronx Bombers. So that's what I'm referring to when it comes to these cards. So how do I do this? Well, what I do is I'm using Acrobat, Adobe Acrobat, and it's pretty simple and pretty straightforward. So I'm going to go into Edit here, and you'll see that the crop tool is what you want to select. And what I do is I will, depending upon how accurate I want to be, just kind of fill out the area that I want to crop. Click it. It's going to pull up this page. And then what I do is I select the page range to be all, hit OK. And what's going to happen is it's going to cut these 59 pages, it's going to cut this position for all 59 pages. So what's going to happen then is when I hit OK, you'll see that now it's cropped that first card. But as I said, in the first position, it's now cut all of these individuals. So the next step that I do is I will then go into the menu, export PDF is what it says here, but then select image. If you do that, what's going to happen is it's going to ask you to save. And what I will do is I'll create a new folder here. Let's call this stars. And we'll just call this one. This is something I learned from I think it's Keith Wright. I forget the name of his channel, But I saw him do this, and the one thing though that I didn't see happen was this actually exporting from the actual PDF. So when I do this, what's going to happen is it's going to make a JPEG of those 59 cards. And so when I go back to the Payoff Pitch folder, where I put that name stars, it's now created an individual card for each player, as you can see. Now the next thing you want to do, what I will do, is I will start naming these depending upon, usually by the name of the player, um, also the card set that it belongs to. So in this case, we could just go, let's see, this is Marito Acosta, and I'll just call this Negro League Stars, NLS. Um, and that's it. So that's all you have to do to create these cards. And it's really quick, very fast process, as you can see. I've seen some other processes out there that, and not everybody owns Adobe Acrobat, I'm sure. But if you do, this is a really simple way to export individual cards. Then the next thing that, that takes some time is naming each individual card. But once they're named, you're done. And so, let's see. Let's go back to. I think we've shown you pretty much how that works, converting these images to cards. You may want to do it last name first. You may want to do it, um, however you choose, whatever naming convention you want to use. You can do that. And as you can see now, if I go back to the legends and busts, what I've done is I've created teams, and so within each team is batter cards, the pitcher cards, stadium. That's how I kind of structure. So when I want to play a game, I can easily go in, click on the lineup, and what I'll do is I'll set up a lineup, and I learned this from Baseball Maelstrom. Is you create lineups, um, and you number them by according to the position the player plays. So in this case, I've got Hal Morris as the number one batter, number two, number three. So you can scroll through the lineup that you set up prior to the game and be able to just a simple right click gets you to works you through the lineup. And when you're completed, you just step back to the first player by hitting the left click button 9 times, and that'll take you back to the but that's just kind of an idea of really wanted to show you how do you actually export the images. And then from there, you can do how you can structure it however you wish. So, so let's talk about this next step, which is going to be oops, yeah, yeah, digital diamond here. So let me reduce the size of this. Go. Okay. So go back to digital diamond. Now to create the library. Now, what I did was had installed a while back. I installed the Bring Your Best 2017 library, which is available through Digital Diamond. It can be found in the install library function, and what you can see here is here are all the files for seasons. Um, on the wrong one. How you actually find this particular the library I'm referring to is you go to the Digital Diamond website, and under custom created player libraries is where you find a lot of different custom made libraries for the game. And in this case, as I mentioned, is the Bring Your Best catalog. And just so you know what it is, it contains over 4,000 players spanning 110 years of baseball. It uses the stats for each player taken from the best season that they had. Um, so basically, there's 163 teams that have been built. But what I did was I figured, okay, well, you got 4,000 players. You got a pretty good chance of most of these players in the Legends and Bust catalog being there. So what I did was I created a league, and you just do that by hitting hitting new library, and you input a library name. In this case, we'll just call it test. Okay, and then open test 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 season. And under player editor, actually, what you then want to do, I should mention this. This is the next thing is you want to create your teams. So what you would do then is under team editor, you create your teams. In this case, we'll just call it test one. That's the team. You can put a year in there if you want. You got to create a tag though, because this is going to allow you to attach players to it when you create a schedule, etc. So let's just call that, oops, TST, and hit OK. And you'll see now that this team is available here. And you would do that for how many ever teams you want to create. And then you can also import teams if you wanted to. So if you already had like team names and set up, you could do that as well. But in this case, I was creating from scratch. So I created my own team names. Um, and then what you do is you go into the player editor section. And here is where I imported the players from that library. So under players, you would select import players from another library. And in this case, these are libraries that are installed on or that I have installed already. So in this case, I would be using the Bring Your Best catalog here. And what I then did was I imported it, and it brought in all those players into the league. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump out of this league, and I'm going to go to the one that I created, which is Bring Your Best. Or I'm sorry, not Bring Your Best. It's the Legends and Busts library. And if we go into Player Editor, and I loaded them all into free agents, so you'll see now that all these players are under free agents, right? Ernie Witt, um, Jerry Morales. These are players that have not been assigned to teams, that are not part of the Legends and Bust library. But I figure I'm going to probably leave them in here. So when I get the second edition of Legends and Busts, I can easily add most of them in here. In this case, what I then did was after I imported the library, I I then would pull up, and you'll see here. I'm going to go ahead and click out of the Caribbean Conquistadors team here, and this is the roster. But to add a player, let's say that let's do a search. And what I'm going to do is actually I'm going to go back to free agents here. So to find a player, if I'm adding a player to the team, I couple of things you can do. So first thing I did was I would do a search for the player name. So back under free agent. This is after the library has been installed, right? So all the players that are available here. So in this case, let's just say Enos Cabell. I don't think he's in the team. So if I do that, let me just do this. So there it is. So what I did was, or what you then do is once you find the player, you just go here and you click on team, and you then select the team that you want him to be assigned to. In this case, let's just temporarily put him on the Texas Outlaws, right? So save, and then we go back out, Texas Outlaws. Let's see, let's just jump out. Because I know it won't update until you actually leave and then come back in. So if I go to Texas Outlaws, Enos Cabell should be there, and there he is. So that's that's the first step of what I did. So I imported that large library, and then I went through search for players, assign them to teams. Now, in some cases, I'm going to delete him from the team because he's not on this team. So I'm just going to assign him back to free agents and save it. Now he's going to be off the Texas Outlaws. So there are some cases where there might be a player that is not going to be in the library, so you need to import them. So what you can do, there's two ways you can do that. One is you can go, if you know the year you want to pull them from, and you want to pull them from the layman database, that's one option. It's a very simple option. You just select the year, and let's just go 1980. And let's look for Daryl Thomas. He played for the Dodgers that year. So we'll go LA Thomas. And what you do then is you would hit, you choose like you want to include splits, place free agent team, and in that case, that's what I'm going to do here because I'm not going to assign him to an actual team. So you hit import. Are you sure you want to import players? Yes. Okay. And normally it doesn't take that long, but there it is. Player created, Daryl Thomas. So if I close this, and now I search for free agent players, let me look for Thomas and hit search. There's Daryl Thomas. Now I added him. That's the first occurrence of Daryl Thomas. You'll see 1975. But then here's the 1980 version that I just added. Um, so that's one way you do it from, I'm going to delete him. So I don't want a duplicate in there. So let's get rid of him. Okay. Or let's say that let's say that you didn't have the library installed, or it's from a season that there's not a library for, then that's the route you want to take. But then if you have a season, if you have the season installed and you know that person's in that library, then you can choose the season that that person belongs to. Um, let's just say let's say let's go Dizzy Dean, right? He's already in the library. Let's just go to 1934. We know he's a Cardinal. So let's go to the St. Louis team from 1934. And here you can, if you wanted to import the entire team, you can hit select all. I don't, so I'm going to deselect all. And there's Dizzy Dean. And I would then say which team I want to import him to. In this case, let's just send him to the free agent team. So hit import. One player has been imported or have been imported based on the specified team. So that is done. So if we go to free agent again, and we pull up Dean, search, there's Dizzy from 1934. So that's how I then built, or imported all the players that I wanted for this season. And so it's not that difficult, as you can see. I'm going to go delete selected player. So get rid of Dizzy because he's already on the Midwestern team that I have, the Highland or the Heartland is the name of the team. So that's how I created or imported the players into that library. And you saw that you added teams, um, and I'll show you kind of what, when you look at team editor, I went through and added all these teams here. So, the Honolulu Islanders. One thing I'm going to point out is that when you do a import from Layman, it adds the team here. So even though they're not a team that I want in my library, but you can simply delete that team as I did there. You'll see that San Diego 1996 is there. Let's get rid of them. I got to clean this up, but that's basically how you do that, how you create the library for, and that's how I created the library for Legends and Busts. So if you take a look at the rosters, you'll see, oh, come on, you'll see, here's the the crawdads, right? This is their roster, 29 players. Um, Basically, I just built all these teams in, and just imported the library as a whole, and then just started assigning players to the teams based upon the rosters that I had created, or the players that are in the set. So the next thing I'll show is let's take a look at let's go to let's play an exhibition game, and let's pick Boston team and the Bronx team. So I've already imported the images for the teams. Actually, I'm still working on this. It's a big project, so I want to make sure that I get it set up the right way. So I've added the images for most of the players. I still need to go through and find some that aren't in the system and add them to see. I shouldn't say they're not. They are in the system. I just need to add them to the season that I created. So I'm going to leave it set to Board Game Companion. So this will show you the notes that I'm play ball. And so what I've done in this case is I've imported the uh, the the payoff pitch ratings and assigned them to the players. So you'll see, and what I did here is with the fielders, I've added the range and the error ratings along with the arm rating. So and forgive me if I have this, but I'll just use this as a reference. So range is going to be the letter. And the number is the first number here. So it's going to be range, error rating, arm. I could put more information in there for myself. I could have, but I chose not to. Just kind of remember that those are the numbers that I'm going to be referencing for during gameplay. For the pitcher, I've added their same thing. You have their range rating, their arm rating. I'm sorry, range rating, error rating, their pitching. Are they a short reliever? Are they long reliever, the starter. And that 6 there is the fatigue rating, I should mention. The 6. So this pitcher is a starter, has a fatigue rating of 6, but out of the bullpen, he's got a rating of being short. For the batter, in this case Joe Torre, that is the bunt rating that appears there. And so if I say, let's just say that Joe Torre came up and he's going to take first base. And now Johnny Pesky comes up. What I have here listed for Pesky is his bunt rating. And then also, if we're doing the auto bunt or auto sacrifice option in the game, then on the pitcher roll, if it's a 2 or a 12, then he's going to bunt, try to move the base runner up. Now you'll see that the ratings now show up for what is related to base running ratings. So um, I did put an S here for stealing. He's a D rated player, and as for R is for run, he's a 5. It's a 5 run rating. Let's just say that Johnny Pesky, let's say he strikes out, and then that's going to bring up Ted Williams. Let's say Ted Williams hits runners on second and third. Wade Boggs coming to bat. So that's just there. I'm showing you how the ratings will how they appear as far as steal ratings. Now, if, for the auto steal ratings, what I've done is after the S there would be the number along with the steal rating. So, like for example, Joe Gordon, if he was in this game, it would display S for steal, and then 3C is his steal rating, and then R would be his run rating of he's a 7 as well. So so that's so, so this process was done by, I think I've done videos on this before, but what I did was this. So what I did was in the game file for Digital Diamond, in the data files, you'll find a whole host of folders here, but this one is going to be relevant to import. So what I've done here is import, and then under ratings, I created a file for Legends and Bus. It's partial. I'll show you the partial file so you can see, because I'm still working on importing the player data. But you'll see here that what I've done is, in this case, what I did was I exported the. Let me see if I can show an example of that. So if I go to this file here, so I did export the player file, the rosters basically from Digital Diamond, and then set this up. Let me see if I can show you what that would look like. Under ratings here. Yeah, here we go. Nope. Okay, well, I'll just go back to the file here that I'm working with. And so you can see that the Digital Diamond does show you the format that you want to use for when you're importing player notes. And it shows you what the structure should be. So if you click on import player notes, you'll see that it says file should be placed in the import ratings folder. The format for the notes files is, and it has this information. I formatted it in this latter option because it gives you greater flexibility. You'll notice here that first option, it shows notes for infielders, outfielders, catchers, batter. In this case, in this latter option, does the same thing, except now it adds notes specifically for positions they play. So notes for first base, second base, third base, shortstop, left field, center field, right field, and of course catcher and pitcher are included in there too. So so that's why I went this route because I want to make sure that because the ratings differ from position to position. So and I didn't want to load three different outfield positions onto same the same note as it would appear on the field. So broke it out as such. It's a little more work, but I think ultimately it leads to a cleaner presentation. So so yeah, so the formatting is as such: first name, last name for a player, the team abbreviation. So I think you saw earlier when I went into the player into the team editor. You saw that's what this is referring to. That's the information is here. And then as I was showing you on the field, this is the data that appears on screen when you're playing the game. So format the file as such. You load the players in, and then what you do is you go back to player editor. You select the import export option here, import player notes. You then that file needs to then be put in the import ratings folder. You'll see that in this file is this one here. It's legends bust one partial, and go ahead and import it. It's not gonna, if it allows me to. It does. If there were any errors, then it would prompt you. It would tell you what the error is. So let's say, for example, if I import the notes for the main list that I have, now that's probably gonna have some errors in it because it's not final. I'll show you. I'll show you what that will look like, or how you'll be prompted if there's an error. Let's see. Oh, it imported. So it's going to overwrite what I did, but that's fine. I'll just go ahead and redo it. But you'll see your information under your notes, and you'll see that these are blank, right? Right. So find out. Now it's importing here. Um, and so the notes are still in there. So okay, so it didn't overwrite them, but just in case, I'm going to go back to and the file that I'm working off of, which is this one here. Done. Okay. So as I said, though, if there was a problem and there was an error with the formatting or an issue with like a player not being found, it'll tell you specifically what that is, and then you can go in and adjust the file accordingly. So, but I do that because if I'm playing digitally, I'm not having the ability to flip through cards, right? So I have to would click on them, or have like all of them open and then click on them to find them. So it just helps me to to speed up the game process, right? So I'm not having to look or search for something. I can see what that player's run rating is, or their steal rating, arm rating, etc. So it does make for much more immersive experience. That's why I add the images too. I know you don't have to, but I add the images, ballpark images where they're available, and it does make for a good experience. I really do think Digital Diamond is a pretty pretty cool sandbox to play in. Well, it's not perfect, But from a board game companion standpoint, I think it's got a lot of really cool features that help make the gaming experience, a lot of fun, a lot of fun. So basically, I think that's it. I mean, we covered importing player notes. I covered how I create the cards, digital images of the cards from PDF, how I create and edit a library. Um, I think within that, I showed how you would build a roster as far as adding the players to teams. Um, Simple. What you do is you find the player from the library. Just go over this again. So if I wanted to choose a player and add them to one of these teams, so let's say Bill Landrum, you see that his name appears here, his age, etc. Right? What you then do is you just simply click the team that you want to assign him to, and let's stick him on the 1980 Dodgers, which are not part of this system, but like I said before, when you're importing players, especially from layman database, it adds them to the team. You just have to go back in and just delete them as I showed. But let's say, okay, so we know it's 1980. And this red appears here to tell you that you haven't saved this information yet. So if I tried to do something, it's going to tell me and prompt me, save changes, you must save or cancel. So save him to the 1980 Dodgers. And see if he's there. Once again, this is a little glitch that what happens is they don't appear until you actually exit. You exit this portion of the game, and then you go in, and now you see yes, he has been added. So delete him, select player, done. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much it for how I've created my own Legends and Busts library and season that I'm working with in Digital. The format of this league is going to be 16 teams. I'm going to do, I'm going to, I've got the Negro League stars, and I'm also going to be purchasing here for shortly the Legend of Us 2 library. And what I'm likely going to do is build four more teams out of that and add them to this season, um, and make it a 20 teams, just a 20 team league. It'll be set up like this, just one master league. And what I want to do is go back to something I had done with the Superstar Baseball season that I had before that I lost, and that is a kind of a Premier League format where every team plays each other once away, a home game and a road game. And being that this is fantasy, I don't really have to worry about a team flying from New York to Southern California one day's notice. It's not real. And so what I'm doing is basically a sprint, a 38 game season. Probably have one day off in the middle of the year so that rotations and bullpens can get reset, and then do relegation. So the teams that finish in the bottom portion of the league, don't know what that number is going to be, but what I will then do is either, I don't know how I'm going to do it. Maybe I'll reshuffle those rosters, or maybe I will create another league out of with the other Legends and Busts season, and or the players that are left over from that, and the Negro League stars, and then have those teams battle to see who gets promoted, and then just kind of play it like that moving forward. But, looking forward to it. Should be a lot of fun. I really do like sets like this. I love doing as played. Um, replays, but I'm also really into kind of these these setups that allow you to create and to have fun with, either if it's cross era teams or it's mixing players from all across baseball to play on kind of a fantasy team, so to speak. I have a lot of fun doing that. I think it's just creatively it sometimes makes replays for myself more interesting than just a static as played fixed lineups. And you know to me this is more like reminds me of when I first started playing the games. I didn't do season replays. I did kind of like, like what I saw baseball demos doing recently with the demolition leagues. I would get like, 6 or 7 teams or 10 teams from a season and play them, or I would create teams out of the players that were in the set. And so yeah, I just figured, well, let it go from there. I think I'm done here. I've taken enough of your time. I appreciate you tuning in. Please do hit like and subscribe. I hope this was useful. If you have any questions, please do leave them in the comments section, and I'll be happy to answer them. I'm sure there's, I didn't go over every single step, but it's kind of gives you an idea. And if you're using Digital Diamond, you're using some of these payoff pitch sets, or even other sets from other game engines. Um, you can do a lot of the similar things. If you have any questions how to do that, I'd be happy to help out. So without further ado, if you have a great day, I'll see you soon. Thank you.